and when no one came forward to claim the money or report it missing, they released it to the food bank. And Booth was honored for his selflessness with the Chief of Police Citizen Citation Award. The food bank donated gift cards to Booth to help him with his basic needs and planned to use the money to expand its building, which in 2018 fed over 1,000 working-class families a month and 300 homeless people a week. The director of the food bank said when she realized what Booth had done, it brought her to tears. "I cried," she said, "because this man doesn't even have a roof over his head. I cried because it's so neat to think someone so needy would bring this to us." Kevin Booth made the decision to give back to the organization that had helped him. He answered God's and John the Baptist's call. He had to think about it for a little bit, but he answered the call. He was interviewed by ABC News and said doing the right thing made him feel good and that he loves being famous. Now think about it. Chuck Feeney, a billionaire several times over, an owner of a huge financial empire, and Kevin Booth, a homeless man who doesn't have two nickels to rub together, both, each in his own way, heard John the Baptist's call to think about the less fortunate and to share. And when they heard that call to share with those who had no money or food, they did so. They did likewise. They answered, and you, Linesville Presbyterian Church, have also answered that call. Answering that call is something we should, of course, do all year round. But particularly this time of year, we should remember that it's part of Advent, part of preparing for the Lord's coming. Advent is a time, as we said last week, Advent is a time of first longing and waiting and preparation. Second, it's a time of hope. And third, it's a time of preparation or active anticipation. It's a time for rebirth, for recreation, and for restoration. For anticipation of the coming of the promised Messiah, as it says in the Old Testament, and as it says in the New Testament, the anticipation and expectation of Christ's return. We know Christ has come, and we long and we wait for him to come again. And how do we prepare for his coming? By committing ourselves to his work here on earth and excelling in it, because we know our labor in the Lord is not in vain. And we prepare by hearing and following the words of John the Baptist, the one who cried out in the wilderness, "Serve God." First, serve God where God places you. Second, treat people fairly. And third, be generous and share with others. And by doing these things, we are preparing the way of the Lord, preparing for his return, making his paths straight. And we know that when we do this, when we answer God's call, when Christ comes, when Christ returns, we will be ready. Thanks be to God. Amen.